Hey everybody, it is Romania Black, and we're on episode 35 of March Comes In Like a Lion. And I'm super excited because this show hasn't missed. How could I not be excited? Last episode, oh my god, the artwork, the imagery, the teacher having the breakdown, the new homeroom teacher coming in, Akari and Hina had a confrontation with the one bully and her mom, and it just, Ray wasn't even there, and it was amazing. I was like, oh, Ray got a vacation last week, but I feel like that's not going to be the norm. I feel like Ray's going to have to come back in because we only have 10 episodes left of this series, which is wild to me. So I'm not reading the manga afterwards. I pretty much decided I'm not going to read the manga. I'm going to hold out hope because of the last several episodes and seeing just how well Shaft Studio has done them. I want to hopefully, fingers crossed, get a future season. Maybe now that Shaft's done or is finishing up the Puella Magi Madoka Magica movie, maybe they'll get on to that season 3. That'd be great. That'd be wonderful. I think it's high time. I think that they should. There's probably enough manga that they can have a season 3. Wouldn't that be nice? Even if it was 12 episodes, I'd take it. I would like 22, but I would take a 12 episode season. I'd take whatever they gave me. So you know what? We'll just have to wait and see. But I'm super excited. If you would like to go see more Shaft shows that I have also done Puella Magi Madoka Magica. It's on my channel. It's one of my favorite reactions. I absolutely love that series. It's so good. And I've reacted to Rebellion, and now just to wait for the other movie, which I want no information about. You all know how the spoiler deal goes with me. But anyway, I am super excited for this episode. The good thing about this series, I'm not looking at previews, so I don't know what's coming up next. And even if I was looking at previews, the previews are pretty vague for this show anyway, which I like, because that way it doesn't spoil what's to come. You just have to wait with bated breath to see what's going to happen. So that's exciting. But I want to give a special shout out not only to everyone on YouTube and Patreon who support me, because you all are amazing, not only to Edgar, who has supplied me with this file while my internet's still out. We're like 20 days in and I hate it. But I also want to give a shout out to the philanthropy tier on Patreon, because you all supporting me helps me to keep doing these reactions. So special thanks not only to Patreon and YouTube, but to Alex Cornejo, to Anime Annie, to Be Happy, to Bryant Reed, to Damage3245, as well as Dana, Destiny Marie, Danny Donmai, Danger Zone, as well as Devorin, Ichu, Eric, Fisho, Ghostly Turnip, as well as Lyndon, Elfreya, Liam Poles, Matthew Palfinier, Murphy, Nameless Monster, Nicholas, No Nickname, Shimoyama, Sunspots, Trails, and Translucent Men. Thank you all so much for all of your support. I greatly appreciate it. All of my love. Yeah, so it has been a torrential downpour. There's like a hurricane. I'm not on the coast, so we're not actually in danger of a hurricane where I'm at, but all of the hurricane rain has come up from the ocean and is now made landfall, and it's hit where I'm at. So it has rained literally all day. It is just soaked. Everything's just soaked outside. It's cold, it's wet, it's fall, and I was like, what feels the most appropriate? And March Comes In Like a Lion was the one to go with. So, so with that being said, we're not gonna waste any more time. We are gonna dive right in and see what yield episode gives us. But we're gonna look at March Comes In Like a Lion, episode 35. We have a new OP and ED, so we need to soak that up too. And we're gonna do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Oh. Oh. That was such a good moment. Recap that. He's such a nice man. I love this. Oh. Oh, I love that shot. It's so pretty. I love it. Yes. I love this. All right, and new OP. It's like spring is here. Uh-huh. It feels like spring, like water that's not quite snow. Oh, wow. And Hina and Rei both looking through the window. I love that. Ah, and all of them looking out in the rain. I never noticed their eyes all being like different colors. And Shimada. Aw. I hope Nikaido feels better. I want him to. And Chio. Aw. I know, spring and fall are such odd seasons because you don't know exactly what to wear. Aw. Oh man, wearing tights with shorts. What a 2010 fashion choice. Oh, I love all the cherry blossoms. Mm-hmm. And the camera. Oh. Ray's like, I wanted the picture too. Oh. And Soya and Ray. Is he giving Hina the dandelions? Aw. Oh, he gave one for each of them. Oh, that's cute. A small palm. Feels like a hand. Hmm. With your words. Ooh. And the flowers are better. No, you need to act on it. Ah. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, the way he looks at her. That's so good. That shot. Wow. Ooh. Wow, she's really negative. Yeah. Oh. Mmm. Wow. Hmm. Right. So? Yeah, what does that have to do with anything you've done to them? Yeah. Oh. Wow. Mmm. Yep. Yeah, then tell me so I'll understand. Aw. Nice. Yeah, mint grows wild. Oh, my friends told me that. We'll talk about that in the discussion. My friend grows herbs and she's like, mint will take over everything. Oh. Wow, all of them. Oh. Hmm. Uh-huh. Yep. Hmm. Huh. Right. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then we're back to this moment. Yeah. Ha! Oh, a long way to go. Hmm. Ah. Mm. Ugh. What a sociopath. Oh my god. Ugh. That's privilege, is what that is. Mm. Yeah. There's so much more to it than that, though. Ah. Hmm. Damn, I love seeing his perspective on this. Oh, they're all on top of her. Is that from Chio? Oh, it is from her. There we go. Mm. Oh, wow. And cows. Uh, oh. Hmm. May. Oh. Look at the animation of that damn goat. That's so cute. Oh my god, stop. Are there not a lot of people there, though, if you're making friends with the animals? They all seem a lot older. Hmm. Hmm. Oh. You just gotta get away from all them bratty kids. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Aw. At least she looks happy to see him. Aw. Mm. Don't you make me cry, show. Oh. Oh, shut up. Oh. Mm. Oh. Oh. We'll go see her. Oh. Oh, damn. Oh. Ah! Show! Ah. A small palm. Mmm. Mmm. In the sun. Is this right there? Looky! There he be! It's been a while. Uh, are they going to visit Chio? Oh. I was afraid the grandpa had collapsed or something. Huh! You can't do that to me, Show. Don't mind me! Ray's like, oh shit, what do I do? I'm sure if it's okay to enter a house where the girl's living. You're right there. Shut up. You're not going to just sit there. Was that blush? Oh, Ray, come on. Hmm. Hmm. Oh. Oh. Oh, Ray. Sweetheart. You Casanova. You. Oh! Ah! blushing. Yeah, you did. Oh, he has a tangerine tree. Oh. Oh my god, that's the biggest irony. Oh my god. Jam, the way he said jam. Oh my god. She's in a better mood. Because she's happy. Oh. 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 Yeah, like all the gloominess is going away. Oh. Oh. Super cute. Mm. Oh, nice. Her getting to interact with people again and her classmates. Good. Oh. Mm. But there's a difference between forgiving and moving forward, you know? Nice. Aww. Aww. I love it. That's so cute. Aww. That doesn't matter. Y'all are in middle school. You're doing better than I am on a regular day baking. Aww. That's so cute. Aww. Right. No, but it's the fact that y'all made them together. Hmm. Hmm. Oh. Because he's happy for her, because he cares for her, because. Oh, don't be like that. And she's like, what? But you have. Girl, tell him. Oh. 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 Ah! Don't give me that! Yes! No buts! You're a baka! Ah! Oh my god. That spin. This small heroine who never gave in. Oh. A little oath of loyalty. Shut up! Ah! 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 Yee! An oath of loyalty that you'll stay by her side? Perhaps. Rei? Ah! Ah! I love it. Oh my god. I love this series so much. It's so damn good. It's so damn good. Mm-hmm. The roar of a passing train. I love that just like everything, it feels like a chant. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's so good. And the rainbow and saying Hina, all of it. That ED feels like it goes by way quicker than normal, but okay. So, well, yeah, might as well talk about this. Oh my god. I'm just such in love with this show. I had no idea walking into March Comes In Like a Lion that it would not only I knew when I put it on the poll for sports anime, there were a lot of people that were like, sports anime, and they made like a question mark sign, and I was like, I know it's probably more sports adjacent, although shogi has been a major part of this series, don't get me wrong, but I had no clue going into this it was gonna be a romance in disguise, and I'm like, oh, and it's like, it's the right amount of romance for me. It's like, it's not the romance in terms of like the will they, won't they, the miscommunication trope and all that. Instead, it's just that sweet, like, just their love that's getting developed slowly but surely, and I freaking love it. So before we get started with this episode, I want to go ahead and talk about the end card, which is super cute. Love the end card. And it's like of the little treats and everything. There's the three sisters. It's done by Akio Watanabe, who is an art director and illustrator and mangaka. They've primarily worked on, I think the one that's most relevant is Monogatari. which is another series by Shaft Studios. So you can see that the illustration style matches Shaft really well. So that makes a lot of sense. I want to make note, Hina looks super cute here, and Momo's adorable as always. Akari looks like a freaking angel. She is beautiful. There was a couple episodes back where people were talking about like Akari and her body image. I'm like, Akari has the body of a Renaissance goddess. She is freaking Aphrodite. Like anybody that's like, she's fat or whatever, I want to smack you across the face, because no, she is like, her proportions are right. Girl has everything going on. She has a body enviable to the gods, and I'll hear nothing else of it. So she's absolutely beautiful. Although I'm pretty sure that Rei and Hina are like in game at this point. I hope they are. I'm rooting for them. I just freaking love them. So let's talk about this episode. This episode is so good, and it helps illustrate why there's so much going on in this one episode, but it helps illustrate why this series is just so damn good, because it would be just enough for a series to make the girl apologize and then move on. But this series is also dedicated to being like, well, but things don't work that way. You don't just apologize and move on. They linger. There has to be like, I love that this instructor is like, we need to take an overhaul of this entire classroom, just go straight through it, restart it, get it back up to code, and let's do this because there's a lot going on that needs to be fixed, right? And the thing about it is, this one girl, she's like, I don't understand why I'm here. And there's a part of me that believes her. There's a part of me that's like, you know, I called her a sociopath in the reaction, because I was like, girl, no compassion, huh? She's like, what's compassion? What's it even worth? I'm like, she has a very bad view of the world and herself. The thing that's so crazy about it is, again, we've talked about this in the discussion on Discord. You can't necessarily say, I think that as a society, sometimes we get into the habit of saying, well, my trauma is more traumatic than your trauma, and my problems are more problematic than your problems. And that's a dangerous, slippery slope to get on. Everyone's problems are problems. And there may be some that vary in intensity, but depending on you and your situation and your environment, there's still problems and there's still hardships, right? And so me calling her a sociopath when she was like, I don't know what compassion is, I was like, girl. And I talked about privilege. My thing was, she doesn't seem like, from what she's telling him so far, the only thing she's had to deal with is the pressure of being, you know, going to a good school and getting a good job. And I can kind of relate to that pressure, because I'm the eldest sibling. My parents were always like, you have to make straight A's, you have to get a good job, you have to go to school, you have to do this, and you can't falter. I very much had that like perfectionist mentality pushed on me growing up, because my family didn't have that much. And so they were like, you have to, here's your one chance, fancy, don't let me down. You know, one of those scenarios. And so I get that. I get the pressure. Do I think, and I'm glad the homeroom teacher calls her out and is like, yeah, I'm sorry you have to deal with that. That's real sad for you. What does that have to do with bullying these other girls? What does that have to do with anything? Because as far as we know, Hina and Chio have never talked about their families or have talked about their futures or things like that. And so, I mean, I don't know if this girl thinks that maybe they just have it all and everything's fine and dandy, and so she felt jealous and bullied them. But I'm glad the homeroom teacher kind of addresses being like, yes, you have your own problems, your own insecurities. You have a sense that there is no compassion or point of it in the world. You have a very negative view of the world. All right. What does that have to do with bullying these girls? And why did you do that? And what are you getting out of it? And so I'm very curious to know like how her discussions with the instructor are going to change things. And so they talk about, you see, like, I love the imagery where even though it's still in black and white, there's still the flowers and the vases. They've been replaced with fresh flowers. And we go back to the apology scene in a little bit here. But she's like, well, isn't it enough that I apologized? And I like that he's like, no, you can't just apologize. Part of it is becoming aware of what you did and how it affected them. And your actions speak louder than your words. And he's trying to figure out like what to do in this situation. And she's like, well, what will happen if I become aware of it? Will something change? Will I become a better person? You know, she's like, will something happen that hasn't happened before? And it's like, oh my God. Also, I'm going to go back to this because I hate that this whole thing messes up. Ah, this messes up. I think it's just the March Comes In Like a Lion episodes because it's messed up on the last episode and I want to go through this episode. So hold on. Let me back up. Anyway, that shot of him looking at her through his glasses is just... that's one reason, again, why I want to wait until Shaft animates another season, because just little animation moments like what they do in this were just so incredible. I can't imagine it any other way. So yeah, so Kokubu is the instructor, and she's like, if we keep on living, will something good happen? And I'm like, the moment she said that, I did feel a little bit bad for the bully, because it's clear, despite how much privilege she may have, and she very much has like that teen thing of, oh, my life's so hard, and it's like, you know, some people do have a really hard life, but in defense of me being a little bit skeptical with this brat, she bullies these girls. And then she's like, well, I have a supportive home life. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. She's like, I have a supportive home life. And my parents want the best for me. But just like, what if the world's bad? And I'm like, oh, my God, girl. And I do feel genuinely bad for her because I think she does need some help. Because if she's this negative and has this much like internally bad feelings, she definitely needs some therapy, needs some help. But then I feel for Kokubu because he brings up a great point about education being like, we're supposed to teach, but now we're all supposed to raise these kids too, which we'll get into that in a hot second. But he's like, I'm not a licensed therapist. You know, he's just trying to do the best that he can. And she's like, you know, everyone says do your best and study hard so you can get into a good school. But she's out here having an existential crisis at age 15 saying, well, who's to say that I'll get a job at all or be at a good company? And it's like, girl, she just has a very negative outlook on life. And it's like, you don't know all of these things, but that doesn't mean that you need to just wallow in fear and misery your whole life. And he's just like, oh my God. She's like, you know, nobody's going to take responsibility. And he's like, what does that have to do with bullying these girls? It has nothing to do with that. So you need to back up. We need to backtrack. And we're going to keep having these conversations till we make a breakthrough. He's like, it's not related. And I love that he's like, well, you know what? If you want, I can talk about post-war Japan and we can go back to World War II and tell about how I walked uphill in 3 feet of snow and all of this stuff. He's like, do you want to go there? I love that in that moment, he's like, do you really want to compare? Do you want me to get on my high horse? I don't want to do that because you're not going to want to listen to it. And I'm like, he's like, just don't even bring that up. And then he basically goes, that's why I'm asking now. And he's like, let's talk. She's like, well, you wouldn't understand how I feel. And he's like, well, then let's talk about it and try to get someone who can understand how you feel. And we'll go back to them because he has more to say about that later. But so meanwhile, we have the Kawamotos sisters gardening, planting all of their herbs and everything. I would love to do this next year. It's too late now. It's already fall. But my one friend... she is like a huge gardener. She grows lots and lots of vegetables and lots of her own herbs. So she grows thyme and she grows basil and rosemary. But she has told me about mint. She's like, mint likes to grow wild. Yeah, my friend says that if you are planning to grow mint, put it in its own container because it will immediately infest and take over. She's like, mint will take over whatever you put it in. I was like, good to know. So that was nice that we had that little continuity there. But I love the idea of this entire episode's theme is kind of about cultivation. I don't think it's a coincidence that you have Hina planting herbs and growing things with her sister Akari, and then she gets the letter from Chio, and Chio's talking about being in kind of an agricultural area where it's growing things. They make the pear jam and all of this, or the plum jam, and the idea of cultivating relationships, cultivating friendships. So I feel like that's going to become a thing with the rest of Hina's storyline moving forward in the manga and with the anime, is Hina takes that step because Hina is a patron saint. She's like one of the bravest kids I've ever seen in anime or in media in general. And she takes that step because when those girls confront her and they ask her to come bake cookies with her, she could have been bitter and been like, do I forgive them? And what I like about it is it's not necessarily forgiveness. We talk about that. I did some of my training in grad school with mediation and conflict resolution. And a lot of it was, at the end of the day, you don't have to forgive someone, because forgiveness is a share of power. So it's also a acceptance. And so for a lot of people, especially if something really bad has happened to them, they're like, I don't want to forgive that person because that's giving them power. That's also admitting that I'm okay with this and I'm not okay with this. And so as mediators, one thing that we're taught to tell people in mediation is you don't have to forgive someone, because that's not required and that may or may never happen. But something that you do is that you have to move forward. You can't just sit and stall forever. That's not possible. So you have to move forward for yourself, for the people around you. And so one thing you can do is cultivate a sense of understanding. And that's kind of what Kokubo is trying to do with, that's what he's trying to do with the girl that's the bully. And that's actually what Hina ends up doing with the friends. She's like, I could say no and isolate myself, or I could take the first step to cultivating a friendship and moving forward. And that's what she ends up doing. So anyway, I really like this scene with the two of them. And then, of course, we have... I really like the idea that Kokubo makes this entire class, like, get up. He shakes things up. He also makes the people that were bullying leave the classroom, which is smart. And then he's like, okay, now that they're gone, you all tell me what's been going on, because we need to figure out what all has happened before we move forward. And I love the symbolism of, instead of the room being dark and grim, that the light is shining through. And honestly, now that the students don't feel like they're going to be bullied or be at the receiving end of it, they're a lot more receptive and open and talking about what's actually happened, which is really a good thing. And I feel like for Hina, this is the chance for her to get to finally move forward and keep moving on with her life. But as she tells him, she's like, do I have to... He's like, there was no sincerity right now in the bully, so we're gonna have to keep talking to her and figure this out. And he kind of gets emotional whenever Hina's like, do I have to forgive her? Like for everything she's done. She's like, when you just say apologize and you'll be forgiven, there's no punishment. And she's like, how is that fair? When I think about Chio and how she had to change schools, she's like, that doesn't seem fair at all. And like, what are we supposed to do about that? It's too much to forgive. And I feel, and then of course we go back to the one girl who's like, compassion. She's like, well, I'm kind of drawing a blank. And she's like, is that like hypocrisy? Is it something that you need or what? Ugh. And I just hate that. I hate that one girl. She's so negative and down on herself. And I'll be honest, when they were talking about making the cookies, the thing in the back of my mind that I was thinking of when Hina was with her friends was how the bully wasn't there with them. She was not allowed to be there, or she wasn't wanted. And so a part of it is you think, well, maybe the bully is being that way to try and earn favoritism from her classmates through fear, which is essentially what bullying does. And so on the one hand, I'm kind of torn, because I don't think that Hina should have to forgive her for what she's done. But then we see the bully and her perspective and kind of how messed up she is. And a part of me is like, maybe it would be better if Hina not necessarily forgave her, but was like, hey, do you want to hang out with us? Do you want to do this? And she's the better person and shows, understanding and shows compassion for the girl to kind of get what that is. Because honestly, it's kind of like a Rei situation. Rei, Rei's always been a very empath person and a caregiver, but he's gone through times where people have not been compassionate to him at all, like his family at the funeral, for example. And it took someone reaching out their hand to him and him taking it. But even that wasn't true compassion, because there was an expectation attached to it, right? So it wasn't until he met the sisters who gave him unconditional love without expecting anything in return that he kind of, was able to say, yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So I wonder if Hina would be able to give compassion to the bully and at least cultivate some kind of kindness with her, right? And that's a hard sell, and I don't know if this series is going to do it, but And maybe that would tie to, Rei being nice to Kyoko and all of that. I mean, there's a lot you can do with that storyline. And the teacher's like, education, huh? When he goes on this rant, he's like, if it was as easy as it sounds. Because then we see the girl crying through his like perspective, and it's like distorted and all grainy. And he sees her crying about it. Oh, I hate that. Like, it's so sad in that moment. And he sees like the other girl. He's like, our job is to teach and raise students. I love that he sees like the one bully girl through like the distorted lens right after that. And then Hina, who looks absolutely heartbroken in that moment. And he's like, take Rei's out of the equation and I would have never even have gotten involved. And he's like, in this whole issue. It's such a thing. And being a teacher myself, I don't know if you're not a teacher by profession, teachers do not get any of the recognition that they deserve, at least not in America. They're not paid enough. They don't get enough recognition. And essentially they are raising your children because they see your kids 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and throughout the entire year. And their job is not only to make sure your kid can read, write, do math, learn etiquette, learn social skills, but they also have to help your kid become a better person and teach kindness. And they can't, they always have to have a face on and be like, oh, everything's fine. They can't break down like that one teacher and reveal to the class, how horrible things are, because it could lead to a really bad environment. They have a lot to do and a lot to juggle, and it's not easy, especially through grades. Like, I would argue elementary school through middle school are like some of the hardest grades to teach because they're so demanding. By the time they hit high school, they're a bit autonomous, and you're like, okay, you know how to think. We're great. Now let's work on that. So I feel for teachers. I really do. I couldn't teach grade school. I subbed it a lot. I decided, nope, I don't have the dexterity to do that. I don't have the teaching capacity to do that. I don't have the mindset to do that. I liked middle school, but I understand that there's like a lot of hormonal changes, a lot of this drama in middle school, but you could at least talk to them like they're somewhat young adults and be like, okay, you're 12. You understand enough to get where we're going with this. But it's hard. And I feel for that teacher. Like, when you're doing the work and doing something good, it's great. I mean, I get it. I get it. So anyway, we get the letter from Chio. And I just love how excited and happy that Akari is in that moment for her, being like, look, you wrote your friend. She hadn't wrote back in a while. Now she has. Here we go. Isn't this great? And so the one thing that I'm sad about is that Chio's at a center getting help. That part breaks my heart. Like, she's at a center getting help, and it's like I feel for her because I want her to be in a classroom with students, but she was broken down so hard that she had to literally start back from square one. That part sucks a lot, and I feel for her. I really, really do. But in any case, she gets the letter. She learns about it. At least it's a nice facility. That damn animation with the goat. The animation with the goat. I know it kind of looks like a sheep, but that goat animation of it bouncing around was the cutest damn thing I've seen in a long time. I was like, oh my gosh. But it was really sweet. And I love the concept. It kind of was, I've read a little bit of the manga Silver Spoon, so it's giving me Silver Spoon vibes, especially with the black boots and like the outfit and everything. But the idea of make friends with animals first, then make friends with older people, then make friends with people your own age. Because, your animals will show you genuine kindness. And animals will show you genuine kindness regardless of who you are, typically. So that's a great place to start, to learn that you are worthy of kindness. You are worthy of being accepted with it. You are worthy of getting it. And then the next step is interacting with older people who are mature, hopefully, and are able to, facilitate good etiquette for making friends and conversation and action. And then once you've got that down, then you can go to people your own age and assumedly become friends with them. So I liked that process. I liked that they had her like make the plum syrup and the plum jam and all that. That was super sweet. And then the fact that she gets to be with her father, like he comes and picks her up, like that's really good. Like, she has a support network created here. and she wants Hina to now become part of that and slowly open up and let her in as well. Like, I love that. I think that's so sweet. I love the fact that Chio's doing better, and how she's gotten to the point where she immediately thought of Hina as being the girl from grade school that was like, and again, the light shining around Hina, her being this beacon of light. I love that about her. That's so sweet. And saying that she wants her to come and join her to like come see things. I love when Akari like puts her arm around her and they have this little moment. It's so sweet. Her getting the letter, and there's all the pictures there. She's like, won't you come visit me during summer vacation? That's so sweet. That might be the thumbnail, the picture of them together. I don't know. There's some really good ones of Hina in this, to be honest. So then we have Rei. Rei seeing her and coming to the house with all the tangerines from Shimada, which was giving me instant One Piece vibes. I'm like, so Shimada and Nami would be friends. Shimada and Nami probably would be friends, actually, if I'm thinking about it. I bet they would. I bet they'd enjoy each other's company with their tangerine trees. Or I could ship Shimada with Nami's mother. We could do that. That'll work with Belmere. Let's do that. We'll have our crossover of One Piece and March Comes In Like a Lion. Why not? But anyway, him coming in with the tangerines and how adorable he was about seeing her like asleep there on the rug and him being like, I don't know what to do. And then putting the tangerines down and then just sitting there watching her. And when he says, he's like, I could sit here and stare at her forever. I'm like, Rei, you don't realize you're in love, but you are in love, sir. And it's like, what I love about it is it's a relationship that is slowly developed over time. And it's so genuine and pure, and he just and there's desire there. He's talked about having desire, and there is desire, and it is like you're coming of age. You are having desires towards someone romantically, but it's so pure and innocent. Like, he's not thinking of anything bad. He's just like, he has these feelings for her, and that is so freaking cute, right? Oh, I love it. I love it so much. So, but yes, he sees her asleep. And what does he do? He just sits there and doesn't, I love when he's like, he's so adorable. He like tries to walk around. He's like, I don't know. He tries to like walk, but he doesn't want to make any noise. So then he just sits on the foyer and watches her, and then he falls asleep. It's so cute. I am in love with it. I am in love with how much he is in love with her, and it's so innocent and pure, and it melts my heart so much. Absolutely, 100%. And the thing about it is that he thinks that he hasn't done anything for her. And I love that she addressed that in this episode. She's like, what are you talking about? You have done so much. You're an idiot. I love she bites his hand. She's like, you've done so much for me, Baka. I'm like, the look he gives her is a look of a man that's in love with someone. You should find yourself someone that looks at you the way that Rei looks at Hina in that moment. It's just so damn good. It's so good. And then he falls asleep and she has to wake him up, which is hilarious to me. But yeah, and of course he's embarrassed by it. But I love when Shimada gives him the stuff. He's like, oh, well, the tangerines don't have any pesticides on them or anything, so you could just make jam from my tree. And he's like, jam? The way that Rei's voice actor says jam is hilarious. So cute. I love it. So funny. And then he's like, Akari can make it. She's good at that. But yeah, her with the tangerines might also be the thumbnail as well, because it's just so good. And he's like, she's just shining. And I love when she tells him, she's like, I think the problems are over. I think the worst of it's over. Like, I think the storm, like in the sun, the sunlight coming out and shining through. I love that she's like, I think the worst of the bullying might be over at this point. I think we might have broke some ground. And then she tells him about going to the friend's house to make the cookies, which are all super cute, by the way. I love that she goes to sit with him at the park with it. It's so cute. They go to sit together. And then she says, like, I'm going to get a picture of that. She talks about the girls. All these K names. I was like, dear Lord, all these K names. But yeah, what's really cute is that the 4 girls, they feel sorry and they apologize for her. And then she takes the step to go with them to their house, which, you know what? She didn't have to do that. She could have stayed at home. But I love that Hina's so strong and such a good person that she's like, I'm not happy at what y'all did. I think it's going to take her a while before she can come to an understanding and move forward with the main bully girl. But I feel like these other girls that apologized again and seemed very sincere about it, she's like, okay, we'll just move forward and see what happens. And they end up having this great time, and they make these cookies. And she talks about how, like, you know, even though they weren't the best tasting cookies, it's just the fact that there was love put into it and their friendship, and it was heartfelt. It was so sweet and innocent, and I love that. So, of course, Rei is like, well, I'm sorry I didn't get to help you feel the friendship of cookies. And he's like, I'm sorry I couldn't do more for you. Because when she's telling him how happy she is, he's just like, I wasn't able to make you. And he's like, I had this tightening sensation in my chest, and I felt like I was going to cry. He's like, I wanted to help make you feel better, but I feel like I've let you down. And I'm like, Baka. And he's all blushy. I love that she bites his hand, and she's just like, you're being stupid. You did help me. Like, stop it. Because there is little blush face. It's so sweet. I'm just like, oh. I love how the series makes his hair like the blackest of black, right? And then he's like, in the end, I couldn't help you overcome this. And she's like, are you serious? You literally helped me so much. And I love that he grabbed her hand to do the promise originally, but then she grabs his hand this time, and she's like, no, you don't understand. You listening to me, you coming to see me. She's like, the way she does it, she's like, you know, even though you did all these things for me, she's like, you have saved me. Do not think that you haven't. I love it. It's just so sweet. She's like, even though you made me so happy. And Rei's like, oh well. He's like, I didn't really think, you know, it was doing that much. And she's like, you're an idiot. I love that she bites him. She's like, don't you give me that. I love it. And he's like, but she's like, no buts. She's like, Kiriyama, you're an idiot. That's so funny. And the animation, when she's telling him about the letter and she's walking away with him, and she's like, I got a letter from Chio. And they're walking down the bridge. Like, in that moment where she, like, twirls around and, like, spins around with him, that animation was so damn good. I loved it. It was so sweet. And him just being led by her. She pulled my hand as if we were dancing and started walking at a steady pace. Oh, it's so cute. I love their relationship. I ship it so hard. This small heroine who never gave in, no matter how she cried or suffered. Y'all. So good. And they said, I made another promise. I love the texture, like the different colors of their skin in that moment. I love that. I'm going to get a little picture of it. Yep. And he's like, what did he say there? I made another promise in that moment. A silent, because he sees her helping him out of with all of his problems there. A little oath of loyalty in my head. So he said a small promise and a little oath of loyalty. I'm like, if he doesn't stick with her forever, what else do y'all want? I'm just like, so good. It's so good. So damn good. Yep. Anyway, this episode was fantastic. Like I said, I really am intrigued I'm very intrigued and excited to see how we handle the situation with the bully moving forward. I feel like we're going to get back now into the shogi business now that things are getting a little bit better with Hina. that we're going to get back into that with Rei because he has that match with Soya. But again, we have 9 episodes left. So a match with Soya is probably going to take like 3 of those episodes. So what are we going to do in the other 6? So hopefully we get to see Chio. Getting to see Chio would be great, to see her for an episode. It'd be cool if Rei came along, but even if it was just Hina and Akari, that'd be enough. I feel like the bully is going to have to be something we address this season, and how Hina plans to overcome that. And then we have Soya's match with Rei. So, oh my gosh. But this series is so good. It doesn't miss. And I want to go back now and rewatch the scenes with Rei and Hina. It's just like, it's like a pearl clutching moment. You're like, oh my gosh. It's like, I just watched, I've been watching Pride and Prejudice for the first time, speaking of which, and just the scene where Mr. Darcy's like does this with like the hand flex. I feel like that is Rei talking about just watching Hina and the glow around her. So good. But I can't wait to hear your thoughts down below. I'm curious to know what y'all think. I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah. I'll be back real soon with more of March Comes In Like a Lion. Bye.